People, good evening. This is Johan Rousseau, the chairman of FIRA. And as we said, we will give daily updates upon report here and from us. We have been informed calls for the funeral industry to be in total in the Eastern Cape. A call was made by Mabuyane, the Premier of the Eastern Cape, to lock down funerals. It's one of the most unregulated areas in South Africa. FIRA wished to respond as follows. More or less 10 years, FIRA approached Mcebisi Jonas, the former Minister of Treasury, requesting to put legislation in place in the Eastern Cape. We've spoken to the Department of Economic Development and the Eastern Cape Development Corporation. A document was issued to do a research the impact of the funeral industry on the economy. Unfortunately, that was left and it never materialized. The same that happened in Gauteng, that never happened since we've written the laws. We urge funeral associations to take responsibility of their members, supporting the calls of government to regulate the funeral industry. If they say 10 people at a burial, if government says 10 people at a burial, or 15 or 20, please adhere to that. Please adhere to government's calls for the amount of people that needs to attend a funeral. Do not, as what we've seen in the media in the last week or so, try and overrule what government has said. People creating fictitious death certificates to go from point A to point B, acting fraudulently. We cannot afford that, people. The moment these things happens, it will grossly affect the funeral industry and the public. Just remember, a funeral is a service, but it also needs to get closure of a person that passes away. The psychological effect on the public is enormous. We urge the funeral industry to listen. We urge the funeral industry to stand together. We urge the funeral industry to become united. We cannot allow an industry with billions supporting every sphere of government and insurance, the financial and the banking industry, to be closed down. We understand that we are in a phase of a pandemic, but we need to emphasize the fact that FIRA has requested the funeral industry to be regulated. In a regulated environment, government will provide the funding. Together with financial institutions, it's currently not regulated. And because it's not being regulated, no funding will be made available to assist the funeral industry to upgrade to a level where they're supposed to be. And we request government to urgently look at the proposal through to them, to the Speaker of Parliament, to each and every province, so that we can set a standard to stop this virus from being spread. What Kokta has done, they've just limited the movement of a funeral parlour from point A to point B, and the same applies to the public. We cannot work in an environment where the infrastructure and the spatial planning is not being attended to. We're sitting in a crisis, and it's not only the funeral parlours, but also government mortuaries that's been affected. We urge everyone to work together. Let's adhere to the laws. Let's take responsibility as leaders within society, within our respective organizations, to assist, guide, and advise our members. Do not hide it away, because they need our assistance. Their business is going to be affected. They are going to close down. Their staff is going to be affected, and their families. And then we shouldn't ask who is responsible. We need to look at ourselves and say, what have we done to assist government in terms of regulation? We cannot shy and hide away the fact that we've made mistakes because of personal issues, because of infighting, people trying to organize and mobilize their associations. It's not about associations anymore. It's about South Africa. It's about an industry valued at 200 billion rand if we incorporate the value chain. It's about 58 possibly as a result of associations misleading government. It is unfortunate that certain laws are inherited from our past. We need to fix that, because by not fixing that, we will be in a state of emergency as a result of these factors. We're already in a lockdown process. People, and then we can just say that FIRA would oppose, on behalf of the South African funeral industry and the South African public, oppose any possible lockdown of the funeral industry in totality, because we can prove over the past 20 years we have requested government to act. We've requested associations to work with us, not against us. And they will also be held responsible. From 99, 2000, up to date, nothing positive has happened to control the threats that's affecting our people, affecting service delivery, affecting our economy. And FIRA wish to reassure everyone that we'll do everything to assist any possible lockdown of the funeral industry, rendering essential, because it's not only about the funeral industry, it's the total value chain that's being affected, and we need to address this, and we need to address this as a matter of urgency. Thank you very much. Enjoy your evening.